Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Snipes, and if you're just checking out the channel for the first time, I do tips, tricks, guides, all sorts of fun stuff like that for beginner to intermediate players, and I think advanced players can probably find something that they might like in these videos also. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so every time I post a video like this, you guys are able to find the next video. But without further ado, it's going to be the title of the video. We're going to be practicing smoke planting. I'm going to show you all the default spots and then the smokes for those default spots. Basically what you're going to do is the smoke is going to cover you while you're planting so that no one's able to directly see you. They have to use either a bulletproof camera or a Maestro camera, any way that they can see through smoke to be able to see you. So without further ado though, I'm going to leave timestamps down in the description or in the comments, so make sure if you want to see just one specific map for the ESL maps, that way you'll be able to find it and you won't have to watch the entire video to go looking for it. So without further ado, let's head on over to Bank. So what you guys are looking at currently, this is the basement of Bank. Now I'm going to show both sides, so if you're both to attack each site, this is exactly kind of where you would smoke and what you're trying to do. I'm trying to walk you through my thought process behind all of these sites, but just starting on here, basically the first thing is that if you're looking at your server's take going into the site, you have two default spots. Now you can plant on the desk or you can plant in the reinforced wall that normally gets blown open. A lot of teams will just go for the reinforced wall, but some teams have been known to go and plant on the desk. Now the reason you plant on the desk is because it's not as expected, and a lot of teams can capitalize on this because you might throw some C4, some smokes at the other default spot, whereas you could probably get this one off and guard it honestly a little bit easier, because when you're trying to defuse it, you have to be sitting in the open, so it's not very easy to defuse if you're on the defending side, especially if you can get it off. But looking at the other site now, this is assuming that you get the hatches open and you're able to drop and get control of, let's say, vault and inside the elevator area. So you're going to see those two smoke spots, and I'm going to show it in this video after I explain kind of the run through of this. And basically the smokes are going to be able to guard anyone trying to rotate in. They won't really be able to see you if they try to run through the smoke, and that's pretty much the goal. Now the default spot is usually right next to the desk. A lot of teams will reinforce those double walls that are right there, but not always. So you just got to be wary of if those are reinforced or not. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to have one person plant, and then you're going to have one person watching the smoke in case anyone decides either come through lockers or come through that elevator doorway, or if you're going to have another person, or try to have another person watch vault, because a lot of teams might push through gold vault, or at least push one person if they lost control of the site. So without further ado, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about and show you some actual gameplay so that way you guys don't get bored to death of just looking at the overview of the map. So we're going to be heading on down to through the service tunnel going into server. Now an important part is this is usually reinforced, so if it's reinforced, just have your thermite open it on up. It's a lot easier with the thermite than with the Hibana. The Hibana can leave some sort of reinforcement, so you have to plant a little bit farther into that wall. You're hardly guarded by that pillar / wall that sticks out right there on your right, but it guards you honestly enough. Normally teams will run Miras or run at least a rotation hole where you see me hitting. Those are the two rotates that usually people will come on in through. So you're going to be seeing me throw down these smokes in typical spots that people might do, and this will basically allow you to plant in this default spot right here. You don't want to plant this far out, but I didn't have anything to breach that with, so I wasn't able to. Now this is the desk plot I was talking about. If you smoke it off correctly, if you smoke in between that bomb and the actual desk, you'll be able to have an easier time with this site take. Now heading on over to the opposite side, you're going to want to open this hatch up, and normally you would do this with a Hibana or Thermite or Maverick, any of your hard breachers. Obviously I don't have a hard breacher or any breaching for that matter on Capitão, so I'm just going to do it with the M249. Now the hatch is open, you're going to see how this execute sort of works. Basically what you're trying to do is plant in that corner right there, and then you want to smoke off this doorway. You probably want to put it in front of where that staircase doorway was, but essentially that's what you're going to be doing. So you're going to be throwing a smoke down right about there, maybe a little bit farther forward. If you want to guard vault, you can throw one in vault also, or you can throw it in lockers to kind of just cut off that rotate if you wanted to watch it and have someone watching vault instead. It's really honestly up to you, but basically the smokes is the only way that you'll be able to guard yourself, and using the fire arrows on these spots also will allow you to cut off any rotates, and that's why you want to have someone else plant. The Capitão doesn't usually want to plant. So moving on, we're going to be doing an archives in Teller's Take. Now this is on the first floor of the bank, and this is honestly going to be one of your probably more typical takes. I would say a lot of it revolves around reinforcements getting blown open. So when you're taking a look at this, it's going to be the same smokes in terms of the placement of the smokes, but your default spots might change depending on what you either blow open or what was reinforced and what's not reinforced. So looking at the archive side, when you're heading on in, you're normally going to plant behind the stacks. So what I mean by stacks is sort of those bookcase or shelves that are in there, because those are bulletproof and it's the only real safe cover you have. Now you want to basically smoke off the rotates. Normally you're going to have a rotate either through the doorway. Usually teams will put a rotate hole actually in between the wall between both sites. So wherever that hole is, you want to also smoke that off. Also, you want to maybe throw some fire arrows down, because that'll make your life a hell of a lot easier when you're trying to get this down. Now, obviously, a lot of this revolves around holding a flank, so make sure you have a teammate with you. But if you're just solo queuing, or if you're just a 1v2, definitely just try to smoke off at least one of them. Throw some fire arrows down. That'll help out a lot. Now, taking a look at it from the other side, again, this is going to revolve around you opening up these reinforcements. These are typically reinforced. The side facing the staircase, it might not always be reinforced. A lot of teams might play it soft because they have someone sitting on the staircase, which you have to deal with eventually. But either you're going to plant behind the printer or you're going to plant behind the filing cabinets. Both are bulletproof. You just have to be wary of who exactly is going to be trying to rotate on through. I'd say the filing cabinet's a safer bet because it's a lot harder to kill someone, versus the printer. You can get shot from the rotate hole or even through the wall. So you just got to be wary of that and make sure that you're covered by your teammates. But you're basically going to be doing the covering since you're the Capitão, and make sure either your hard breach or whoever you have planting is able to get it down. So we're going to be doing a little run through. I'm just going to show you guys exactly where you guys should be planting, what you guys should be smoking, all that good stuff. So heading on in, basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to plant either here or you're going to want to plant here. Now the smoke spots is basically this doorway, and then if they have a rotation hole anywhere on the wall, you want to also do that. Now, okay, if there's a rotation hole from the closet that's right there, you also may want to smoke that. So this is going to show just the other two plant spots that I was going on about. Now, both these walls that I hit may be reinforced, so you might have to deal with that and make sure you guys take that into consideration. Now, as I was thinking about this, you can actually smoke it from the filing cabinet, but if you also have someone maybe standing at the beeper door, which is on the other side of where that printer is, you can actually have a better line of sight onto these doorways and the rotation hole that might be there. So I would take a look into that if you're maybe planning or stratting out something for your team. Now we're going to be moving on into something that's not typically seen. We're going to be going into the open area / kitchen take. Now a lot of teams don't usually play these sites just because it's kind of hard to guard. But on the off chance that they do, I feel like you guys should know this. So the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is kitchen. Now the smokes for kitchen are pretty simple. Normally you'll have a rotation hole into closet where you see that top smoke grenade is, and then you're going to usually want to smoke off that doorway where you see the second smoke grenade is. Seems pretty simple, but you do have to be wary. Sometimes on that wall it's just below the objective. Usually they might put a rotation hole or just at least a hole you can shoot through. So just be wary that there's really not a lot of cover for you to plant behind in this site. So I would just make sure that you're wary of what exactly the situation is. Also, make sure you have someone watching a flank. Either make sure they're in that main lobby, that skylight lobby, just somewhere pretty much, because you're going to be open from that double doorway that you have to come through. So I would make sure that you have someone watching over you. Now the next take that you're going to be seeing, this one's pretty simple. You can either drop through the hatch or you can come through the double doorway. Either way, you're going to pretty much plant in the exact same spot because there's nowhere else to plant inside that would really be viable or be easier, so to speak, than the other spot. So For this one, you're going to want to smoke off the double doorway again. If there's a rotation hole from that long where you had it last time going, if that window is going out to the alleyway, you want to smoke that off. But if there's no rotation hole there, I would definitely go for a closet smoke. It'll make things a lot easier. Also use the Capital bolts always. But these are basically going to be your smoke spots. So just take a look at that and decide what you guys want to do. But I'm going to demonstrate them for you real quick. So let's move on to that. So we're going to be heading on in. Normally you'll end up opening this wall. It's usually reinforced, so just going to demonstrate that by shooting it on open, but normally you're going to have that reinforced. So you probably want to open that if you're planning on doing a kitchen take, because you're normally going to plant behind this counter right here, right behind the bomb, because that's really honestly the only cover you have inside that site. But basically your smokes are going to go down in those two spots. Usually going to have a rotation hole on that second one. Maybe even have a rotation hole on that wall right there. But smoking on down, going to go for the plant. And that's basically it. Just make sure you have someone either watching server or sort of that archive side to make sure that no one's able to come on flank through. So we're going to be heading on to the other site. We're going to be going in pretty much the open area. Normally you want to open this hatch up, and that's really honestly the easiest way to do so. You're going to want to drop, and essentially you're going to want to drop and smoke out the site. So you want to open up both hatches, maybe have the Capita sit on the opposite hatch, but you're basically only want to smoke off those two spots and possibly that long hallway. If there is no rotation between that long hallway, I would say smoke off closet instead. But fire arrow and smoke those off, and you'll be able to get the diffuser down in no time. So with the last site being upstairs, we're going to be going through CEO and holding down pretty much what you want to do on both of these sites. Actually, normally you're going to go for sort of that CEO office rather than where those double couches are, because you can shoot through the couches, so there's really no cover that you're safe behind. At least with the desk, you kind of have the chair and a little bit more coverage, and it's kind of hard to get into if you end up smoking it correctly and there's no one not already in that room. But without further ado, let's explain this a little bit. So normally you're going to open up the CEO walls on both panels if you can get them. You usually want to go for more of that right panel, that top panel, rather than the bottom panel. But honestly, if you can get both of them open, that would probably be in your best interest. So looking at the smoke grenades though, you're going to see that you have a smoke on the double doorway and the rotation hole that is usually made from closet into the console office, or the CEO office, excuse me. So with those two smokes down, pretty simple plant behind the desk. Either way, either side of the desk is honestly safe, but you want to just make sure you have someone watching over you to make sure no one pushes in through the smoke, and it's a pretty safe plant. Now, taking a look at the other site, you're going to have to come in from sort of that banana office, that side that's right there, or maybe have to come in through long desk. Either way, it's a little more hairy than it would normally be. So I would still say open up the CEO walls, because you need to have some sort of crossfire, else you're going to let the other team able to push on out and not really get contested at all. But essentially, you're going to want to plant behind that couch that you see the X behind and hope that no one decides to pre-fire it, because you can shoot through it. I did go through that and test it. But basically, your smokes are going to go down on the double door like you saw on the other site, but you probably either want to smoke off that sort of connector window area, or you want to probably smoke off the rotation hole into the closet from long desk. I would say the smoke off from long desk, because normally you might want to try to place someone either on the windows or on banana and try to guard that for you rather than having to smoke it off, but that's going to be totally up to you. But without further ado, let me show you the gameplay and what exactly happens in game. So obviously I can't open any of this up, I don't have any breaching capability, but basically this is where you might see a rotation hole on the wall. Now this is something you do have to worry about. I feel like a lot of teams make rotation holes. These are the walls that I'm talking about that you need to blow up, and that's pretty much where you're gonna plant. Now the bomb itself is actually right next to the desk. It's not any cover, or you can't really plant behind it and get cover. It's a lot harder to plant on this side. I feel like this site just honestly comes down to kills a lot of time, but basically your smokes are going to want to go down here and here, and you're just going to go for the plant, and that's pretty simple. Now for our last site on this map, and the last site of the video, you're going to want to see This is pretty much the couch I'm talking about, and again, you can shoot through it as I just demonstrated right there. So you do have to be worried about that, and you do need to realize that. I feel like that's something that you obviously need to worry about, especially when it comes down to planting the last second or anything like that. But here you're gonna see the two spots that I would say to smoke off. You probably want to either have someone guard that from banana, and that's basically what I just pinged right there, or just smoke it off yourself if there's no rotation between long desk and the closet. But here's the two smokes go down, plant goes down with it, and that'll pretty much be it for this video. So let me know if you guys think this is a great series. I plan on doing all of the maps on a ranked at least, but I just gotta start somewhere, so I decided to start on bank, go through all the ESL maps, although they did switch Oregon out for Cafe and ESL, so I will just continue with Oregon, then add Cafe as I learn more about it. I don't want to do that video yet because that map is still very new. Anyways, I hope you guys found this interesting, and make sure to like and subscribe, and that's going to be it for today. This is going to be Josh Snipes signing off.